Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to today's analysis. As usual here, we cover the market analysis every week, and this is the analysis I have for you guys this week. So sit back, enjoy, and let's see what the market has to offer. Hey, what's up everyone? Hope everyone is well. Welcome to the Wednesday analysis. My apologies for Monday. We didn't have any analysis on Monday. Ken had some issues with his laptop and I wasn't in the office, so we couldn't do anything to back it up. But here we are again, and yeah, so this same video I'll post it on YouTube. So if you find it late, or if you don't understand, or you want to watch something again, you can find it on YouTube. Apart from that, ask me questions in the chat room. Today I'll be doing the analysis alone, look at a few pairs here and there, and then wait to see what will happen in the markets. Currently I don't have any trade running, so I'm risk free. So I'll be watching the markets to see how the markets will be faring in the next few days, and see what opportunity the market has to offer. I personally see the dollar falling a bit lower to some support level. I'll show you on the analysis before we get some correction to the upside. Starting the week, on Monday and Tuesday we had some sideways movement, which was broken yesterday. I had a class I was teaching here in the office, so I wasn't actively watching the market, but it showed quite some good entries on Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar to the upside, and also USD CAD to the downside, which the markets quite fell a bit, as well as the gold market. We saw it rising a bit. Some other pairs haven't really been moving much, like the US 30. We had that drop yesterday, but sort of we got into a consolidation yet again. But most of these pairs, we look at them. Oil, on the other hand, also has been rising. Okay, so we came out of some consolidation, market was forming, and it's shot further higher. So apart from that, I'll go into the markets analysis. For those who are new to this analysis, welcome. If you have any questions, please ask in the chat room and I'll be sure to answer. So if I share my screen, some other things we've been paying attention to for the past few days are cryptocurrencies. We don't dive into that much for now. We're still doing a lot of research, but that's something you should also pay much attention to. So starting off, I'll start off with the dollar. Okay, so starting off with the dollar, let's look at the daily chart. Daily chart, remember, I've talked about this multiple times. Lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. The trend is your friend, okay? Follow the trend. Using Elliott wave analysis, you can see I've marked this market beautifully as 1, 2. We had this 3 wave, okay? This strong wave, correction, A, B, C to the third, 4th wave, and market continuing down. I don't use Elliott wave analysis much, but I follow the rules. But basically, you need to understand how the market works. That's what builds my market structure. Following those rules, the Fibonacci levels, as well as key levels and patterns that are forming in the market. So as I said, we've been following this for the past few weeks. You can see market lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. I said a few weeks ago, unless we break this highlighted region, is when we can start looking for dollar buys. But so far market has maintained below it. You can see we got a correction of 78.6. this is on the daily time frame. Okay, so daily time frame, look at that. We had this impulse to the downside. We had this ABC correction to the 78.6, quite a deep retracement. Long term, if you look at it, it was also 38.2. okay, so this is a 38.2. that Fibonacci started up here, back up here. You can see we have drawn my line. So this is that extended long correction to the 38.2. so there's a lot of confluences at that region. If you did your homework, then that was quite significant. If you go to the 1 week chart, you can basically see that was that 38.2 Fibonacci level that I'm talking about, if you use this as your previous lower high. Okay, so if you go down to the 4-hour chart, so you've seen that daily chart, we've seen the weekly chart, now down to this chart. We've covered this pattern for some time. Touch here, touch here, touch here. We got this extreme push to the upside, got that touch, and ever since market has been dropping. Okay, so market has been dropping, and this is the level I was talking about. Market came to the downside. We got this spike over here. Okay, this was earlier on. I think that was last week. Okay, during NFP. So some time back we had that spike, market then dropped to the downside. You've seen we broke below this support level, resistance. It was a support level, now turned resistance, broke to the downside, retested it, market entered into this consolidation. Okay, a basic descending triangle, better seen on the 1 hour chart. So look at that, clean, quite smooth. You can't not see this. I had spotted this early on in the weekend. That's what I was talking about. If you look, I'll go and look at the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. It had some opportunities within this pattern that was forming. So we had this formation, and yesterday market broke to the downside, and you've seen this momentum that market has been coming with. Okay, so if I go back to the forward chart to show you levels that I'm targeting, so if this market continues falling, you see this support level, it acted as resistance once, broke to the upside, acted as a double bottom. So it was a strong support around this level, and now expect market, if we continue dropping, to come back to get support at this level before we see any correction. And if that correction comes through, we can easily see market correcting back. Let me highlight it for you. Back to this support level before you see the market dropping further down. So long term, I'm basically saying I'm short, and even if you see market coming down, breaking this level strongly, then this now will act as our roof, as our ceiling, where market now will act as resistance instead of support if you get that break to the downside. So expect this market to come, this momentum yesterday that started, expect it to finish off and come through to this level before we get any movement to any level. If you look at the 1 hour chart, still has that momentum potential. Once we broke this level, however, what you need to pay attention to, we broke this level, you can see market has been coming down. That momentum sort of slowed down. Okay, watching this 1 hour close over here as we go into the London session. As we've already started the London session, which started at 10 a.m. we can, if this market closes like this, we can easily see a correction maybe to this resistance level now, and before we get that drop to the lower side. So that's what I'm watching on that. Moving on to the other pairs like Aussie dollar, what was I talking about? If you look at the daily chart, okay, remember I shared this article on, I think it was Tuesday, yesterday. I shared an article on this. So I was looking for these high highs, higher lows. Higher highs, you can see we got this significant higher low. Okay, so if you zoom into it, what you're basically seeing, this was a major level of support. First resistance over here, then market came and started dangling for a couple of days. Ever since March 24th is when market started consolidating for quite some days. You can see market pushed higher, consolidated again, and then yesterday we got that strong push to the upside, and market is continuing with that momentum today. If you go the 4 hour chart, seeing the patterns that formed, we had sort of a wedge-like pattern. So if you saw my analysis, what I'd posted, I was actually waiting for market to drop to this support level. Okay, you see this region over here. So I was waiting for this lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, a trend line bounce over here to the lower low. But however, market brought in different information. So the first bias was broken, and market started pushing to the upside, which wasn't a surprise. If I can zoom it for you just a sec. So what I was talking about, this pattern that was forming here was quite significant. Okay, so it's a basic formation that normally happens when we're breaking a counter trend line. We get that impulse, sort of we get this correction to the downside, not continuing strongly to the downside, and then that break to the upside. So if you go to the 1 hour chart, this was simply a impulse correction, impulse formation with the 61.8 acting as support. So you can see this impulse to the upside. Look at that clean pattern forming within a wedge. We got that spike and touch of the 61.8, and market rallied further higher. I still expect some momentum to the upside, especially if that dollar that we've talked about continues rallying further higher. Within this channel formation, I can expect market at least to come to the 0.770 level around here, which is about 30 pips from where we currently are. Okay, so that's what I was watching on this one. That was on the 4 hour chart, a clean break on this one. Now if you try catching that, you'll be basically chasing the wind. You'll be catching it quite late. Yesterday had a very good entry, especially after this 4 hour pin bar close. Okay, if you go to the New Zealand dollar, nothing much of a difference. It was basically the same thing. However, this one I have sort of a different bias, unlike the one I have on Aussie dollar. Okay. So long term, I'm still waiting. I was waiting for this pair to come and touch this trend line down here before we get any push further up in line with the 61.8 correction. Okay, so if you see this strong support level, you see this strong support level that we broke with this strong momentum. We had this resistance, support, and then we had that strong break, and currently now market has corrected back to that level. If you zoom in closer, for the past few days, market, just like Aussie dollar, had consolidated for quite a bit within this region, And today we've seen this market strongly moving to the upside, back to that liquidity zone. Okay, so what you need to watch at this level, because market can get some correction at this level and continue to the downside. So if you go to the 4-hour chart, what am I watching? 4-hour chart, I was watching same thing with Aussie dollar, this counter trend line. You can see that first touch, second touch, third touch over here, same thing also. Market had that impulse, we got some sort of sideways correction on this one, and then market shot to the upside. But currently I'm watching the 1-hour chart. Okay, or before I go to the 1-hour chart, if you get rid of this counter trend line that was broken, in line with the daily chart, you're seeing this level where market has come back to. So you can see this resistance, support level. Market broke it, and now market has come back to it. Whenever you see market has broken such a level with momentum, come down and getting some sideways movement, this is basically a pattern that's forming over here. If you can't see it, trend figure out what pattern this is. I'll show you just now on the 1-hour chart. But depending on how this 4-hour closes with some rejection at this level, then this market can easily fall to the downside. If we break it and close above, then it will be better to continue with the bullish bias on this one. But if you close with a shooting star formation, such a pattern, then easily you can see the market falling to the downside. So if you go to the 1-hour chart, you're basically seeing that this is a sort of, let me even take it to the 4 hours so that you can see it much clearly. So you can see this pattern, basically it's a flag formation, a common pattern that normally happens whenever market comes from a strong impulse in either direction. So you can see this impulse to the downside, market has formed this wedge, this flag formation, and then can easily see market dropping further down. Okay, so unlike that Aussie dollar trade that I see continuing to the upside, I have a different bias on this one. So one of them might be right, either the bullish plays or this bearish play. On this one, I see the market can easily drop and continue a bit lower before we get any direction either side. Okay, and remember on the 1-week chart, you want to be betting on the downward momentum. Okay, 1-week chart, after we got this resistance level, so you can remember we had this strong bullish uptrend, got that resistance up here, and we had this strong fall. So on this one looks a little bit more bearish. You can continue riding with that one. With that said, what are we looking? New Zealand USD card, I still don't have anything much to share on that one, apart from looking at also this one. The trend has been continuing. If you look at the 4-hour chart, there's no lower high that has been broken. Let me even go to the 8-hour chart so that you can see it clearly. Look at this. Ever since the dollar started dropping, this pair has also been in a massive downtrend. That's why we keep insisting the trend is your friend. If you started shorting this pair from last year, look at this. If I go back all the way to this top, this was around March last year. Market has just been going lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. You can see this whole pattern, market just continuing lower lows, lower highs. The pattern hasn't changed. Okay, but just remember also, everything comes to an end. So if you go the 4-hour chart, you can see basically also this one has been continuing lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high. Over here we're forming a new lower high with this sideways movement, not really getting any direction. If you go the 1-hour chart, you can see that there's a triangular formation sort of forming. Okay, so there's a sort of triangular formation forming. You can see this momentum that's coming in during this London session. We can wait to see an either break of direction, whether to the upside or to the downside, just like what we expect. We saw yesterday on the dollar index triangular formation. Okay, so that's what I have on this one. I'm just watching it, don't have nothing much to it. Looking at gold, if I got the 4-hour chart, what I'm watching, okay, let's start with the daily. So daily, remember I still say there's this consolidation level that the market is in. Okay, within this level. Okay, so you see this pattern over here within this region between 1675 and 1750. Market acted as resistance before, and that's what we're getting currently right now. Market is also playing within this region. We got that first touch of 1675, went back to 1750, back to that level, back up, and now we are still dangling around that region. If you go the 4-hour chart, we have sort of a trend line to the downside that I'm watching. So just a sideways movement. If you look at this, sort of looks like a triangular formation. Okay, so this is a pattern also you can pay attention to. Market came strongly to the downside, sideways movement over here within this triangular formation. So you can expect to watch this, see where market can be heading in the next few days. especially some resistance over here. That's what we're watching currently. If we get this strong break of 1750 and close above, you can easily see this market rally. But as long as we're below this region, watch this pattern dangling within 1750 and 1675 or 1700 region. Okay, so that's what I'm watching. Long term, expecting a bullish momentum on this one, as we talked about on the daily chart. Within this pattern, an impulse, correction, and an impulse to the upside. Okay. Oil, I'm expecting market to come a bit lower, okay, before we get some long-term buys. Okay, also using some some Elliott wave to back me up. You can see we had that first impulse, correction to the sideways, third impulse within this channel-like formation, and some correction over here. You don't want to be participating in the shorts. Shorts are quite the trend long term is quite bullish. Okay, you can get really trapped within these regions trying to look for a short. I'd rather wait for that market to come lower and get that touch of that trend line. If I zoom it out, if I zoom this out, you can basically see this is where it started from, down here. So you can see that first touch, second touch, and third touch around this region. So if you get that drop for here, this can be a very long-term good risk reward ratio of 1:5 if you're taking a long-term trade, because you'll be looking for more than 1,000 pips to the upside. Okay, so I'm still waiting on that. Forward chart, market has been dangling. We had some sort of counter trend line over here that market has been breaking. We had this sideways movement over here that market really dangled for quite some time. You can see this sideways movement. So imagine trying to get a buy and a short within this region. You're really getting trapped, and there's a lot of noise here. So I better wait for a clear indication before I get any entry on this one. Okay, so that's on oil. I've done gold and Dow Jones. I'm also still analyzing it, don't do a lot of guesswork, but those are the pairs I'm currently watching for now, and those are the main pairs I normally trade. Yeah, so that's what I'm watching. I hope it's been of help. Basically, that's how we analyze the market. You can do your own analysis. Mine is not final. I might be wrong on a lot of things, which is totally fine. But do your own analysis. Get to know where the direction of the market is going. Apart from that, spend some more time reading a lot, okay? Understand how markets work. Don't just be always looking to trade the markets. Get time to read and study. A lot of study will help you, especially on psychology, and also not just psychology. Understand how markets work, different market cycles, because that's what we're also experiencing now. We're trying to understand. We've been talking here with Ken how interest rates are affecting the market, inflation, markets, different countries reopening, because that will also mean a lot of people starting to spend more, which will affect the inflation of a country. Apart from that, so read a lot, do a lot of research. Do a lot of research on cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of potential on that side to make money, not just in trading. Trading can be quite tiring sometimes, so you can just look for investments on cryptocurrencies. If you do the proper research, don't just buy on price because one thing is low and then expect those long-term gains in those ones. And that also helps in diversifying your portfolio. Apart from that, that's it from me. I don't have anything much to say. If you're still looking to be funded, we're still funding students. If you want to be taught how to analyze the market, we're still doing that here at Financial Hub. And like I said yesterday, I had a class. There's a class going on later on today, and that's what we do here mainly at Financial Hub. I see someone asking, how do you invest in crypto? Maestro, good question. If you want to invest in cryptocurrencies, you can. So you should do some research, because it's quite a process. I personally, what we normally use is local Bitcoin and Binance. So basically, local Bitcoin is the main process, or the main work that local Bitcoin does is to be able to exchange your native currencies from wherever country you are. So if in US, London, Kenya, you can change your native currencies. Now here in Kenya shillings to Bitcoins. Okay, so that's on local Bitcoin. Once you get Bitcoins on local Bitcoin, because if you go there, it's quite simple. You'll get someone who's selling, you send M-Pesa or bank transfer. Personally, I've always done M-Pesa. I've never done any other transfer. After that, I get my Bitcoins from the person I've bought from, and then I send them to my Binance. Now, what Binance does, it's quite hard to do direct exchange from Kenya shillings to those Bitcoins and those cryptocurrencies there. So once you get Bitcoins, you can send them to your Binance account, and from there you can just change it to any other cryptocurrency you want. Now Binance gives you access to all other cryptocurrencies that are out there. Once you get that, you exchange and then you hold. So you can put them, you get a online wallet, so you can put your money there and leave them there, or you can send them to a cold wallet. I think we'll do a video on this later on to explain how we do this. I also learned that the other day that there's a way you can do peer-to-peer transfer using M-Pesa on Binance Straight instead of going through local Bitcoin, but I've not done enough research on that, but you can also do that. Nesh, so I hope I've answered your question. Just do more research on those local Bitcoin and that. And also some people use Paxful, but I'm not that familiar with it. Okay, so apart from that, someone is asking what happened to the Traders podcast. So the Traders podcast, what happened? We are compiling quite a number of podcasts, so we don't want to release one today and then the other one we're still waiting. So we are working on that, more content coming, so we want to pile it up, then we'll come releasing it. So they're still there, they're still in the works. We have them, a couple of them, and I'm sure you're going to love them. So we're working on those podcasts, also working on different platforms where we'll put them. So with time, just give us a few weeks from now and we'll post them quite soon. Okay, so I hope I've answered your question, Nash. Have a session on that, funding Binance. Cool. So I think one day we'll just do a cryptocurrency Zoom session, so where we're just looking at those ones. Personally, we've been doing crypto since 2018. We've kept it really low-key because we are doing more research. We don't want to come and talk about things we don't understand, but that's what we're doing for now. There's a lot. We've also been benefiting from it, quite a handful. If you follow our Instagram pages, I'm sure you've quite seen. And there's a lot of potential on this space. It's still 10 years old, this cryptocurrency space. Well, if you look at it, it's only 10 years old if you're looking at Bitcoin, but if you look at the whole space it's been building on, it's gone more than 30 years back. But now a lot of people are eating the fruits of their labor. So that will be very good, Caleb. Cool. So we'll do that sometime soon. We'll plan on it and we'll let you guys know. So I hope that has helped. I'll see you guys soon. I see Dominic asking any information on Bitcoin mining. Not really. Okay, personally, why we did investing more is because we find if you want to do Bitcoin mining right now, it's quite a challenge. It's not as easy as you may think. Long time, it was quite easy. You could just open your laptop and mine Bitcoins. Right now, it needs a lot of extensive computer power, okay? Apart from that, it needs a lot of electricity. It's quite cumbersome right now. The competition is also quite high. If you do your research on looking at cryptocurrency miners, those guys have like a whole building just dedicated to mining the Bitcoins and that. So it can be quite expensive for you to do that rather than just getting a good price on Bitcoin and getting into that space. So that's why we don't do Bitcoin mining. Ever since we started, we mainly just decided to invest, which I think for us was a much better route to take rather than looking to start mining and all that. Some friends of ours started trying to do it. There was a time BitClub came. I don't know what happened to it. I came to hear it was a scam, but some people tried using through that, but it didn't work for them. So we were quite glad we used the Bitcoin investing way. I think we'll do a video on this. Maybe share with you guys sometime later on. Share with you guys. We'll do a YouTube video later on. Share with you guys our experiences on cryptos and all that. What we've been doing here and there. What we're watching, and I think it might be quite informative. So with time, give us, and we'll do that. So I hope that has been of help, and I'll see you guys on Friday if we do the next analysis then. So have a wonderful week and watch the markets. May the peeps be with you. Peace.